My name is Victoria Alexander and I work with Syntero. Syntero is a community nonprofit agency that offers a wide variety of services to people of all ages in our community. I work specifically within our older adults department. And our older adults department is comprised of 11 different staff members. And we serve folks 60 and better in Franklin and Delaware counties. And if they reside in the city of Dublin or the city of Upper Arlington, then we can serve 55 and better. We offer counseling services, outreach and case management, and we also include caregiver consultation, and we have volunteers that are able to help clients out. So together we work to provide an umbrella of services to older adults within our communities. To get connected to the services, all you have to do is contact either the general intake line, or you may call me directly at 614-301-2488. Feel free to also reach out to me with questions about our programs via email, valexander@syntero.org. Other popular requests we receive and help out with are connecting to in-home services. Perhaps someone would like a referral to different agencies or groups that can help them with maybe mopping or sweeping the floor. Perhaps they have some joint trouble with their elbows or knees, for example. Also, we would help with referring to specialists and getting them linked with needed medical resources. Any community resource. Perhaps they would like to review their budgeting, finances. They would like to learn more information about different housing options out there for them. They would like to find out about caregiver resources. So we are very thankful for our partnership contract with SourcePoint in order to serve older adults who reside in Delaware County. And I am excited that both Kristen and Anita will be speaking on additional ways to manage stress and things to pay attention for, especially during this time of the COVID-19 pandemic, and what we can do to help support each other and to help support our family, friends, and loved ones. I wish you all the best of health. Now, stress is something that we all experience as humans. It's part of our human condition, and it can certainly benefit us in the short term in certain situations. However, when we experience it on a chronic basis, then it will take its toll throughout our entire well-being, and it can impact various areas of our day-to-day lives in a negative way. So it is important for us to monitor this and keep it in check as best we can. There are several tools we can use to help regulate our stress management and keep it in a healthy level. One of the favorite tools I have is using guided meditations. Guided meditations can be found on a variety of different sources, one of them actually being YouTube. So I encourage you to check out YouTube for a variety of guided meditations. And one of the ones that I enjoy in particular are ones that have binaural beats in the background. Binaural beats is when different frequencies, you use headphones, and different frequencies go in both of your ears, and it adds an extra level of relaxation to the experience. So you might find that you'd like to try out a few different ones before you find a voice that you like, that you find calming. And there are certain themes that you might feel more drawn to than others. Just go with what you're drawn to. Certainly typing in the terms relaxation, lower anxiety, enhanced sleep, that can lead to more specific guided meditations. And you can also choose different lengths. There are several that are 5 to 7 minutes long, and there are some you can choose from 20 to 30 minutes long and even longer. So it is all based on your personal preference, but I encourage you to explore the various guided meditations that are online and for free out there. There are also several scripts that you can use as inspiration online, and I will link a few of those in the attached handout here today, and I encourage you to practice some guided meditation. And there is a wonderful thing about this, that we now have research that shows how this positively impacts the neural pathways in the brain, and it is possible to rewire those pathways, make them stronger in ways that we would like. For instance, our brains are just naturally wired to be more on the negative side, and that is a protective factor that came more in handy when we were walking around and we had to maybe look for big predators like lions, tigers, and bears, oh my. But now walking around Central Ohio, that usually is not a worry that we have. We don't have to be looking out for a wild animal that might come and threaten us. But our brains can constantly be scanning for those particular stimuli and those potential sources of threat, especially if someone has experienced trauma and other negative experiences. With COVID-19 pandemic happening, this is triggering the trauma reaction in everybody, particularly those that do have a trauma history that is more significant or on a greater scale than some of us. And it is helpful to keep in mind some helpful tools to utilize when we feel like our anxiety might be rising more than our baseline we would like it to be. So thankfully we have many tools at our fingertips that we can use and practice and try out, even if we haven't tried specific tools before. So in particular, I know that it is difficult to stay in touch with some people that in the methods we had used before, such as traditional, of course, visits to clients' homes. We are not doing traditional home visits at this time due to COVID-19. However, we are utilizing telehealth platforms to still conduct our services and interact with our clients and monitor them and provide support. If clients have access to devices where we can do a video call with them, then we do that. If not, then we will certainly do our sessions with clients over the phone. Those who have experienced trauma early in life might be more wired to have more of a scanning the environment for potential threats and being hypervigilant. So again, guided meditation is one of the many tools we can use to enhance that relaxation response and practice it and incorporate it into our daily life. Like I said, you can just start out with a 3-minute video. You don't have to dive right into the 30 or 40-minute script. Another way that I like to encourage folks to relax is use some chair yoga. And again, there are many different ways that you can do chair yoga. It's a really easy exercise and it just gets your limbs nice and stretched out. It helps reconnect the mind-body connection. Sometimes if someone's experiencing anxiety, and we've all experienced when we might be getting a little bit too cerebral and really in our heads and ruminating on a particular thing that might be worrying us, and we're not paying attention to the bodily sensations we have. By dropping back into our body and paying that more awareness and monitoring that, we can really bring down that headspace up here that could be escalating us. So just by that, I mean practicing mindfulness in general. Mindfulness has really gained popularity in the past few years, and it's very exciting that it has. And there are many ways we can practice mindfulness. Guided meditation does tie into it. You can also just do a simple exercise by, when you're eating a meal or a snack, just pay attention to what the food looks like, what it smells like, what it feels like if you're eating a piece of fruit. Pay attention to how sweet it is, tart, what does it feel like in your mouth? Oftentimes, we're all guilty of this, myself included, we might be trying to multitask with many different things going on. Today's world is more fast-paced than it was. And technology is a double-edged sword. It can be a blessing and a curse at times. But I think if we use it to our advantage, that's when we can really rein it in. By being mindful, we can really focus on one thing and reground ourselves into our own bodies and pay attention to what you are feeling emotion-wise and within your body, bodily sensations you may have. There are several activities that you can do with somebody that does not have immediate access to a tablet or a smartphone to talk to their family. If their family lives locally, I would encourage them to try playing a game of tic-tac-toe or maybe Pictionary or something of that nature, either on their storm door or on their window. You would just get a dry erase marker. There's some special markers that you can use on glass and windows that you could just wipe away, that it won't mark it up on them. That way you can see the person through the glass, but you won't have that direct contact. You can practice social distancing that way in a safe way and still see your family member. Another idea you could do is, some people have definitely successfully set up an iPad or a different type of tablet device with maybe a Skype account already on there. And then that way you would literally leave it on the doorstep and they can open up the door and take it from the other side and show them to press on the icon to call you. I have had some family and friends of clients drop off these devices to their loved ones already loaded with the accounts on there and show them the button to press to connect with them for a FaceTime call or for a Skype call, something of that nature. There's lots of apps you can download for them. You could put, for example, Pinterest on there if they like to do crafts or browse different recipes, browse different, all sorts of areas of interest. And you can show them the icon to click on and then they could just browse from there. Another way to help out a friend or family member who does not have immediate access to a device or the internet would be to drop off some arts and crafts supplies at their doorstep. Even if someone does not consider them to be Picasso or Monet, they could still have some fun with an adult coloring pad or even just plain construction paper with different colored pencils and crayons. If they could experiment with watercolors, that can really get the other side of the brain going, that especially if they've been stuck kind of in an analytical or anxious state of mind, if we get the creative juices flowing a little bit, it can really help change that dynamic and leverage it onto another state of mind that's going to be more positive and relaxing for the person to experience.
Hi, I'm Kristen Suarez, and I'm an independent social worker and a mental health therapist for Syntero. I work with SourcePoint, which I provide in-home mental health services for older adults, Delaware County residents 55 and up, who are receiving home-based services. It's estimated that 1 in 5 older adults has either a mental health condition, a substance abuse issue, or even both. So during these trying times during the COVID-19 pandemic, they are certainly contributing to an increase in mental health symptoms in our older adults. So the COVID-19 pandemic is a globally stressful time for all of us. This can cause mental health challenges to surface. So for the past several weeks, we have been reminded on a daily basis to focus on our physical health and on our safety. In doing so, many of us have had to sacrifice areas of our lives that have caused an increase in mental health symptoms. So isolation, loneliness, worrying about our loved ones, worrying about access to basic needs we didn't really have to worry about before, like food, medication, even toilet paper. Doing these sort of things has caused a tremendous impact on our stress response. So while I'm a big advocate for physical self-care and preservation, and particularly during this pandemic actually, taking care of our emotional needs is also very important. It's no secret that during a global time of fear, stress, uncertainty, mental health symptoms, alcohol and drug use, and other unhealthy forms of coping, overspending, overeating, sleeping too much, they're going to increase as well. So despite our older adults needing to isolate and stay safe at this time, there are ways to get creative in order to stay socially connected. For birthday parties or wedding receptions, baby showers, they're doing parades in their cars. So going past someone's house and throwing out gifts and cards and holding up signs and shouting, kind words to people. They're doing, good old-fashioned telephone calls, which are absolutely great. And also utilizing newer technologies. So we have a lot of online video formats right now. We have Zoom, we have FaceTime, GoToMeeting, and these things can be used just to have a regular conversation. But to take it up a notch, you can invite an entire circle of friends. You can play card games. You can show your friends and family around your house, showing them maybe a project you've been working on. You can do book clubs, virtual happy hours, even wedding ceremonies they've done over video chatting. So the possibilities are really endless. You just have to get creative. Aside from staying socially connected, though, which is extremely important, so we talked about social connectedness and also self-care. The self-care aspect is also huge. So many of us are seeing a lot of these daily accomplishments from our friends and family. We're, on Facebook perhaps, and we're seeing that they're remodeling their house right now, or they're learning how to play the guitar, or something, decluttering their entire basement. And it seems, we're happy for them, but sometimes for those of us that maybe aren't doing such major accomplishments, we can kind of be hard on ourselves, maybe even feel a little guilty about what we're not accomplishing. So as you're feeling that lack of motivation, those feelings of guilt, we have to remember that right now we are in survival mode, right? We talked about, some of us are even lacking access or worrying about lacking access to some of our basic needs. So during this time, it's not uncommon for our brains to shut down and allow us to basically only do the things that are essential for survival. Sleep, eat, basic hygiene, those sort of things, rather than learning a new language or something elaborate of that sort. So it's really important right now to be forgiving of yourself, to not compare yourself to others, because that's just going to contribute to, exacerbating your mental health concerns. So we're all going through this pandemic right now, but all of us are in a unique situation of our own. So just try to be forgiving. So one other significant issue I am seeing on a daily basis contributing to stress and anxiety in the clients that I treat is a lot of people have found themselves spending countless hours a day watching news programs. And I believe it is super important to be informed, to know what's going on. But we also need to be a little bit more mindful of how does our mood change across the day from hour 1 of the news to hour 6 of the news. You may not even realize how many hours a day you're watching it. So really try to be attentive to yourself to see what kind of effect that you're having with as much news as you're watching. Another thing to be very mindful of with self-care is to find healthy ways to express yourself emotionally, since we're not having that interpersonal connection as much. So things like journaling, finding ways to communicate or connect with loved ones, cooking, making art, which can be endless ways to do that. Staying physically active is also really important right now. There are ways to do that while social distancing. So we can walk, we can bicycle, you can even do things around your house. There's ways to use objects in your home to do stretches and lift weights with just objects in your home. Obviously consulting with your doctor based on your health conditions to see what would be appropriate for that. But even with the fitness centers being closed, there are always ways that we can do that. So another thing that I feel is particularly important is, since we're spending so much time in our homes, is to make your home or a certain space in your home a peaceful, relaxing environment. Make it your sanctuary, if you want to say that. So maybe it's a portion of your living room or your whole house or your bedroom. So declutter that space, make sure it's clean. Perhaps get a comfort item, something new maybe, or something that you've always had that you enjoy, a special blanket, a pillow. You can light a candle, play music, have your pet with you, open a window. It's great right now in this weather. Open the blinds, open the curtains for the day, and just kind of get some of that natural light in. All of those things can produce calmness in your home, which will contribute to a better sense of safety and also just, contribute to a better sense of well-being.
So as we continue to socially distance ourselves with all of the COVID-19 restrictions, remember that there are so many things that you can do to help you get through these strange times. First of all, I want you to know that stabilizing your world is probably one of the most important things you can do. We feel like we're kind of out of sorts. We kind of feel like nothing's predictable, that we have no control of anything. And if you try to create a routine or stick to that schedule that you have every day as much as possible, because I know there's a lot of things that we can't go out and do like we did. But for instance, if you are a person that likes to exercise 2-3 times a week, or maybe every day, try to keep that up. You might not be able to go to the gym and do that, but you can go out and take a walk. If you are limited physically, maybe you sit in your chair and you do chair exercises, moving your arms up and down, or, walking in place as you sit in your chair. All of those things that are helping you move and get your blood pumping are helpful for you. These are strange times, and if we are able to stabilize our world and create as much predictability in what we can control, that will help us feel stronger when everything around us is kind of out of control. Don't overload yourself on news and COVID information. Choose a reputable source for your information, factual, and to gain the information you need to be able to function well and follow the guidelines. However, if you are sitting in front of these news shows and programs that are constantly talking about COVID, it's most likely just not a good situation. We need to take ourselves away from that and fill our brains and our minds and our bodies with things that are uplifting and that bring us joy. It's just overwhelming to our system because it is too much of a hard thing. We wouldn't want anybody exercising 24/7 or 12 hours a day. It would be too much for them. And that's the same thing with this information. It's good to get the information, but we don't need to get this information 24 hours a day. Talk to family and friends at the socially acceptable distance, of course. Maybe you take a lawn chair over to your next door neighbor's driveway and you all sit out in the driveway and you chat. Maybe you bring your dinner and they bring their dinner and you sit and have a outside socially distant picnic just to see somebody's face and hear somebody's voices. that helps us feel alive. When you feel that you are enjoying life, those things that are distracting you and bringing you down with the COVID and the restrictions and the social isolation, they're going to go to a lower level of priority when you're filling yourself up with things you enjoy. Lastly, I just want you to give yourself grace. You know, we are all going on this journey for the first time, one day at a time. We don't know how it's done the right way or the wrong way. We're all trying to do the best we can in the best way possible. And if you don't always make the personal mark you have set for yourself, that's okay, because we're all trying to learn this together. Just give yourself grace. Be kind to yourself. We are going to get through this. This is a difficult time, and as we go through this with one another, we reach out for support when we need it. We stay connected. We move our bodies. We have a routine. This is going to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And on the other side, we are going to look back and realize that we were a lot more stronger than we thought we ever would be. So stay healthy, stay strong, and reach out for help and support if you are feeling overwhelmed and could use some extra help on the sides. We're here for you, and we wish you well going forward.